Celebrating 15 years of podcasting, here's a memorable moment from the Adam Carolla Show's Ace Awards archives.
Regis was really hard for me to do because Dana had done him so brilliantly, so I had to look for one little thing that Dana hadn't done, and I finally decided it was nasality. Regis had the thing where he was, with Joy and I went Joy and I went down in a cave in Tijuana that was 1,000 years old. It was 1,000 years old.
Now, for some new memorable moments, let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right.
Well, speaking of low self-esteem, I know, Darrell, you had a panic attack doing Al Gore. You thought you were ruining it, and then you went out, you killed it. So you did such a good job that Al Gore's team showed it to Al, going, "This is why people don't like you."
Yeah. Frank Rich wrote an article in the New York Times about that, but here's the funny part about it. If you compare the real guy from the debate and what I did, you can tell that one of these things is not like the other. Do you see him? Like, if you put Dana's incredible Bush Senior by the real Bush is kind of dull.
Right.
And I had done Gore, for a year at the Comedy Cellar. I'm sure I did him 300 times. And I thought it was pretty darn accurate. And once again, I was wrong to do it that way. And Jim Downey walks in and goes, "No, syrupy, overbearing school teacher. That's what we're going to do."
Oh, really?
Well, then we started doing that, yeah.
Right. Yeah, because accurate, like we talked about with Mike Tyson earlier, is not necessarily the funniest version.
Right.
But it's sort of like if you ever go into a deli and they have all the caricatures of the famous stars in the back.
I was just going to say that.
That's what you want. You want that version of Humphrey Bogart, not an actual rendition of Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, I had Hirschfeld drawings in my dressing room and in my office to tell me what I'm going to be doing this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because they're, it's like they're more like the person than the person, right?
Right.
Kate Hepburn's nose really isn't that big. Robert Mitchum's eyes really aren't that big, but it captures them. So that's, I got that advice from Dana, and then I started looking for caricatures.
What are some bits that didn't involve you that you thought were super funny? And I'll go first.
Yeah.
I love Bill Hader's Italian talk show host. I love that Fred Armisen just says nothing and eats spaghetti and smokes the whole time. And I love that he argues with him in Italian. And I love that everything is wrong all the time.
Right.
I don't know why that bit never fails for me. It doesn't matter who the guest is. It doesn't matter what the theme is. It makes me laugh every single time.
Well, I have two. The first one is Cowbell. The second one, personally, that made me laugh the most was when Horatio Sands did his Turkish talk show host.
Oh,
and I played his
that.
Turkish Ed McMahon.
Oh, let's find that one.
And Ian McKellen was on this one episode, and my mustache would come off, and during his monologue, Ian would keep putting my mustache back on. Every time it would come off, he'd reach over and put it back on. And I cracked up, yeah.
That was Turkish talk show host?
Ferey, F-E-R-E-Y, Muhtar, M-U-H-T-A-R, the Ian McKellen show.
All right, well, let's see if we can find that.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly was the guy that I sucked at.
Oh, Bill O'Reilly's the guy you sucked at.
We did it like 3 times, too, and I just couldn't get him, but Downey loved it, man. He wanted to write about Bill O'Reilly, and he was sort of powering my whole life at the time.
And you just didn't feel like you got him.
No, never. But I don't even think I get. I don't think I even got him 50% of them. Like I said, I tried to get 70% of the person. I don't even think I got 50%. But Downey loved it.
Is there someone today that is in the political atmosphere that you just wish you could do an impression of him on the show and sink your teeth into?
I don't know. I had that sort of bizarre lifespan, playing Trump before he blew up as a politician, and
right.
I had so many sources, and I did him. I think the best thing I did as Trump was when I did Domenios. But if you study the cat, he's all over the place vocally. But then something weird happened when he got in front of a crowd of 30,000 people. And I know if you've been in front of a crowd of over 5,000 people, right?
Yeah,
and you're up,
but not doing 90 minutes.
Okay. Well, I did a 10-minute spot in Boston with Dennis Leary in front of 10,000 people. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I noticed was how much larger I was and how much louder I was and how I moved differently.
Right.
I mean, because I was talking to someone that was 300 feet from me.
Yeah, it always cracks me up because anyone who's ever done stage announcements at a big venue, which I've done a lot of over my career because it was a radio thing and concerts, and I was always doing something. And you'd be at some amphitheater and there'd be 18,000 people there. And you'd be backstage saying to whoever, like, all right, I'm going to go out there and then I'm just going to bring on Save Ferris. And I'm just going to say hi. And then you get up there and you walk out and all of a sudden you start screaming, I hear San Luis Obispo knows how to party! And everyone starts going nuts, and you're like, what happened?
What happened to
Where
me?
did this thing start screaming into this mic? And when did knows how to party? When did I start yelling that and this stuff? And then you realize, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, when I started, they wanted me to replace Don Pardo, and they didn't want it to be an announcer. They wanted it to be Don's friend, and that was me. And so we went through the strains of there it is. We went through the strains of trying to invent a voice, and Lorne finally goes, put him out, just get him out there live with the band. That will do it. Because we were just in a studio going, what if it's like this? What if it's like that? He's like,
right.
Put him out there with the band. And the crowd screaming.
Right. That's the simulation.
He'll find it. Yeah. And eventually I came up with something decent.
All right, let's play some of this clip, by the way.
Bam! So, what is up, my bro, my sugar friend? What are people talking about?
I tell you, I go to my club, everybody's talking about this while they're going on.
What's that coming
You've been to
on?
my club, have you, Tariqa?
Me come to your club? Don't give me that suck job, man.
He's great.
No. Don't jive me. You know how it was.
What is this bull?
Well, last night I go to Crashco Street with Foray. Foray gets right in, being treated like King Herald. I am outside, left holding cats. I'm holding cats.
Cats?
Don't you see how you make me feel like an Arab?
But come on, you get into my club, you get in anytime you want. You just say, hey, halas, let me into my club. But this time you're all messed up. You have too much Rocky.
Oh, I have 2 drinks, Foray. Foray, I have 2 Rocky. Come on, bro! Don't bull jive me, man. We all know you got drinking problem, man. Come on. Look at that. You got the fake stash. You can't even grow the stash, man.
All right, Stash is falling completely off at this point. All right, let's do some news. We
that
got
was
some
pretty
news?
funny, right?
That was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lenny Kravitz just did an in-depth interview for The Guardian.
Was his shirt on?
I'm going to guess no, and I'm sure there's some leather being worn, though, on the bottom half. So he revealed that he's been abstaining from sex outside of marriage and how he hasn't been in a relationship for 9 years. So he has been celibate for 9 years.
Yeah, only good-looking people make that announcement, because when fat, ugly people make that announcement, nobody cares. And or we go, yeah, of course you're not getting your dick sucked, you fat ass. But Lenny Kravitz does it. We go, oh my God, what a waste of dick.
Yeah.
It's such a waste
It
of
is,
cock. That guy's cock could be put to use. Oh, the humanity.
Like his newest music video, he's completely naked in it.
Yeah.
So he calls this decision, quote, a spiritual thing.
But I mean, the phrase "that guy's cock" could be put to good use or something. I mean, what part of self had you say that?
I look at Lenny Kravitz cock as a commodity.
Okay.
And I look at it no differently as, you know, how I would feel if I was working for the UN and we were delivering aid to some war-torn country, and I opened a shack and there was a bunch of powdered milk and it had all gone bad.
Okay.
You know, the rats had gotten to it, and I'd see the starving kids outside and I'd go, Jesus Christ, what a waste. Come on, the humanity. I had the same feeling about Kravitz's cock.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so it's sort of a spiritual.
Yeah, much like his journey is spiritual.
He says with missionary zeal.
Yeah, speaking of missionary.
Okay.
Yeah, what a waste.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I think Kravitz is quietly the leader in the clubhouse, the biggest blowhard in the world, but nobody will say anything.
Well, in the interview, he also talked about how he saw his dad cheating on his mom.
Saw it.
Yeah, and he said he once confronted his dad after hearing him on the phone with another woman. So there's some parental issues.
9 years of celibacy. That's rigorous.
Here's my problem with I could never interview anybody because I'd be like, 9 years of celibacy, Lenny Kravitz, is amazing, but still beating off, right? I mean, come on, Lenny.
You're still pounding it, right?
I mean, off the record.
Like, really?
When's
Seriously.
the last time you squeezed one out?
Yeah.
And who were you thinking about?
Yeah.
Or were you looking in the mirror? Because I suspect you're thinking about yourself. I think Kravitz beats off to himself.
Well,
I think he puts the video on for American Woman, and he just rubs one out.
Really?
Yeah,
He's wearing that
pretty
tape
sure.
out.
He's that in love with himself.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the only reason he ever covered American Woman is because he liked the way he looked playing that song.
Okay. I mean, he does look good.
Yeah, I know.
Good looking fella.
I know.
Yeah.
I
Real
know.
good looking. Let's see here.
So this video is in his spank bank.
Yeah, he's definitely beating off to himself. Listen, I'll beat off to old man show episodes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging. Darrell squeezes one off to an old SNL every once in a while.
There were a couple of episodes.
Yeah, you did good work, man. Yeah, there's Lenny. Because it's such a horrible, horrible song, and it was gone, and he brought it back and forced it back on me. And it's such a piece of shit song. And I was like, I'm so angry I had to hear the song the first time around, but now it was dead and gone, and then Lenny brought it back only because he liked the way he looked playing it.
Yeah.
I should say it's on mute for a reason. We don't
Yeah.
need to hear this.
What, did he have big songs?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Fly
Lenny?
Away, American Woman.
Are you going to go my way? Is that the same one? Yeah, Are You Going to Go My Way, right?
I think
Chris?
so.
You don't
Tell
know
me
that
about
song?
your-
It's his
tell me-
biggest song.
I thought Fly
A
Away
couple
was
slow
the biggest
jams
song.
too that were pretty good.
You know, Are You Going to Go My Way?
I think I do.
Oh, Chris, you disappoint me. You're a music man.
I am.
Play Are You Going to Go My Way, which is basically
Heather Graham.
Heather Graham is in
Yeah.
this. Yeah, now you know. Yeah, it's everyone just looking at themselves. That's all this video is. There's no way. Lenny Kravitz
I
definitely
remember
beat off to
staring
this
at
video.
her when she did our show. I remember looking at her like, what is it? Why does God spend so much time on someone's hand?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
What's the mutant quality here that you can look that good? She's very nice, but you know.
I
yeah,
think that's
we know.
I think that's why ultimately we're attracted to incredibly looking women and guys with incredible calves. We're always like, why did God love you so much more than me? Why did he spend so much time on you?
Yeah, I was sitting
Where'd you
next
get those calves?
I was sitting next to Cheryl Teagues on a plane once, and I was just looking at her. I was looking at her hand, going, "What's that about?
Yeah,
Why did you spend so much time on her hand?"
right.
Because I figure I didn't get to spend a lot of time on.
No, but you know,
But you know what I mean. He was just like,
But you have to let's take stock in Darrell Hammond for a second.
Okay.
The ability to do what you do is touched by God, and it's much a much greater blessing than being good looking.
Really?
Yeah, because you're very good looking women and or men do not necessarily cash checks on it. Sometimes they get into modeling or acting or whatever, and it wears off. You know what I mean? I mean, the smoking hot chick is good till about 45, and then it starts to sort of, erode as the years go on, and at some point they don't
No
get to
longer
cash
in flower.
those checks anymore. You have made countless millions of dollars doing this thing that is 100% a gift that you work on very hard, but still a gift, because I can't do voices to save my life. I have a strong comedic voice and sensibility, and that's its own gift, but I cannot touch a voice.
And how do you do them funny? Like Eddie Murphy was the first guy I ever saw that did funny, like always funny. Like all his impressions to me were funny, and I determined that if I ever did that, I would try to do a funny impression. And I never really figured out how to do it until I talked to Dana that day.
Yeah, but then there's Halle Berry, and she's managed to do okay for herself. Yeah, but I think I would rather if I had a wish for my kids, I'd rather them get the Darrell Hammond Touched by God than the Cheryl Tiegs Touched by God.
Okay. Aw.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just say thank you?
That's good. Yeah, you don't need to.
I don't need to carry on.
No, just feel good.
Thank you.
And then go back to the low self-esteem.
Yeah, let's get you back.
Because we need you to work.
I'll switch back really quick.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Mm-hmm. All right, keep going, Chris.
Speaking of music, was there a musical performance over the years at SNL that you just still think about? That blew
Tina
you away?
Turner.
Tina Turner.
Yeah.
That I still think about, yeah.
Yeah.
She was at the time 62. The backup dancers were in their 20s, and she danced as well as them, but brother, she could bring it. She was having an experience up there. You got it?
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't just hitting her mark and hitting her notes. She was living something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was incredible to be, because you can if you go behind the whole set and wind around through the cables and the cameras, you can work, if you're allowed to and people trust you, you can work your way to a place where you're 20 feet from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, the first time I did Letterman, James Brown was the act, and I couldn't believe it. And he was on after me. I was like, are they nuts? Are they nuts? Man, my low self-esteem was kicking in so hard. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? And they're like, musical act always goes at the end. I'm like, that's James Brown.
But it's James
I'm
Brown.
Adam Carolla from North Hollywood High.
Yeah.
You put him out first.
And give him a little extra time if he wants.
That's right.
Yeah, roll credits over me.
Let him do 5, and then put him on the sofa, and then he'll do.
I want to watch him myself.
Yeah, I'd like to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else do we got?
So 3 black men have filed a federal lawsuit against American Airlines, claiming they were racially discriminated.
Yes.
So what happened was there was a body odor complaint. This is in January, and on the flight, and so the flight attendant asked 8 passengers to leave the plane and get off, and they can further assess the situation. Turns out all 8 passengers were black guys seated at different places. They didn't know each other, and they all had to walk out, and they were humiliated.
So she randomly ate. Now, see, I need to know stuff because there's
course.
way too many claims of racism that never really come to fruition. But if this is a plane, and most flights, what do you think? Like, most flights are predominantly white, right? Like every Southwest flight I do to Vegas, 2 black people out of 114 or something. Like it's a little light in the black
This is Phoenix
department.
to New York.
Phoenix to New York. So I'm saying it's got to be 80% white or something on that plane.
4 hours, I think.
What's the flight? Does it say what the equipment is? I like when people say
No, it
equipment. All right. It seemed like if you took 8 black people off that plane, that would be most all the black people on that plane. On the other hand, there are flights when you go from like Tampa to Atlanta, that's soul plane. You know what I mean? Like there's flights to Atlanta and stuff. There's certain places destinations that are maybe St. Louis or something like that where it is kind of soul planey on there. But she picked out only the 8 black guys.
Yep.
And
so now they're seeking money.
But 3 of them are.
Yeah, because they were humiliated. They found it traumatic, degrading.
Yeah.
I mean, how bad does your body odor have to be has to leave?
Well, who drops the dime in the first place? Like the pit dime, like that guy's pitting out, man, I need some. Like, there's that. I don't think I would ever stand up and complain about BO because I wouldn't know what they could do about it.
Right.
What's the conversation between the flight attendants that led to, all right, damn it, I'm going to put my foot down?
I was on a plane, the flight that I took where I learned to hate Lenny Kravitz. It's true. It's true. I know where I was when I decided I hated Lenny Kravitz. I know exactly where I was.
We all remember where we were at that moment, right?
I was on a boat, and it was my bachelor party, and we were I was on Lake Tahoe. And the flight to that, so what I discovered about hating Lenny Kravitz is we're on a boat, chartered boat. It was like Jimmy Kimmel and Jeff Ross and Cousin Sal, like the crew, you know what I mean, for my bachelor party.
Right.
And I got on the boat, and the captain had discs, CDs to play. Like, what music do you guys want to hear? And I think he popped in like the best of Lenny Kravitz or something. And I went and looked at the jacket that was in the CD jewel case for the best of Lenny Kravitz. And I counted all the pictures of Lenny Kravitz. 55 fucking pictures of Lenny Kravitz in his best of little booklet, right? And then I announced to everyone on the boat, I have Lenny Kravitz's best of jewel case booklet. How many fucking pictures of Lenny Kravitz do you think are in there? And people be like, 7? No, way off, way up. Now, other guys would have enjoyed their bachelor party. I was counting all the miniature pictures of Lenny Kravitz. But on that flight to Reno, Jimmy farted up the plane so badly that a stewardess went and pulled out a spray of Wizard and maced him with vengeance. He should sue them. Like,
she sprayed it at him.
She sprayed with vengeance. You know what I mean? Like, it's like she was like
with intention.
You're fucking farting this plane up. I'm not going to do an over the shoulder kind of rainbow move. No. I'm hitting you in the fuck. I'm hitting you. I'll spray you right in your nutsack. Like, she like went psh,
like it's rage.
Yeah, she maced him. She was like, knock it off.
Oh, God.
She had the right. I think
humiliating.
She went into the back of the plane. They had the cabinet, where they keep the aspirin and the Band-Aids or whatever. She pulled out a thing of Wizard, man, and she maced it. She maced Jimmy.
Dang.
She sprayed it at him with vengeance. Now, I would have been outraged if I wasn't laughing so fucking hard. I was laughing. He also got attacked with air spray on a bus, on a shuttle bus as well.
Same offense?
I would always say to Jimmy, I go, you have to fart up a train so you can complete the trifecta. You know what I mean? So you can say, I've done a bus, I've done a plane, and I've done a train, but you won't do the train. I'm like, they have short ones to San Clemente. Come on. You won't listen to me.
And anybody out there who don't think I'm foul, I've done a train, a bus, and a plane.
So that's when I learned that they do carry the air freshener on the flights
for such things.
It's bound to come up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's fine. Just in case.
And so normally I'm a little dismissive about these race-based lawsuits, but if it's only black guys you tossed.
They didn't know each other and they're all different.
I will tell you this. If you got dreads, you've made the list of funk or possible funk perpetrators. Bald-headed guys need not apply to the funkiness. There's something about big hair that definitely helps in the funkitude department, but these guys don't really matter. It's a band from the 70s.
No.
Tina Turner. Ike Turner was in for a number of months. No. It's just if you're going to get funky, if that smell, big hair will fuck you up. I've been behind a few brothers with like big dread situations. It locks in the funk.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they have to be dirty.
All right, so it's a lawsuit. I wonder how much money they want.
Unclear, but all 8 men did reboard the flight about an hour later after complaining about discrimination, and after the airline couldn't book them on a later flight. So
they got back on.
Get back on. But
They need a stinko wand like they do in security for the metal detector. We need to wand the
like
pits.
a hygiene wand.
Yeah, hygiene wand. Like we'll just put your arms out, same position. Hands out, just, go around the groin, a little ass area, a little mouth. You know what I mean? Let's see where you're at.
Or have the dogs or something.
Have the dog sniff it out. Right.
All right, pal, beat it.
All right, he's clean. Yeah. All right, so back on.
Yeah, and one guy said that he hasn't flown since because it just was too traumatizing.
Everybody, here's the whole thing about lawsuits. Damages. If there's no damages, there's no payday. So you have to say, it fucked me up so badly, I could never fly again.
Yeah, and the lawyer's going to have you in the office and he's going to know, how did that make you feel? It's like, pretty upset. No, were you really upset or pretty upset? I guess I was really upset. Like, how, give me a synonym.
Yeah.
For you know what I mean?
Yeah, destroyed.
Yeah, I was devastated.
Mm-hmm.
I was traumatized.
When we had
I'm not the same. Yeah.
the second season of Crank Yankers, when we had Kevin Nealon call back everyone from season 1 and say he was a lawyer representing a class action lawsuit against the producers of Crank Yankers.
Brilliant.
It was the greatest thing ever. And he'd call, I was with him, and he'd call them up and he'd go, "You ever scared when the phone rings? You scared to pick up the phone?" And they'd go, I don't care. I don't want to give a shit. And then they go, "Think about it. There's a lot of money here." And they'd go, "Sometimes, yeah, when the phone rings, sometimes I am scared to pick up."
Disconcerted's not going to get nothing.
By the way, this is the resting condition of humanity.
Yeah.
A stranger calls, offers a couple of bucks, and you completely fucking cave your shit in. Just completely. I'm now scared to fly because I'm scared I'm going to be thrown off my next commercial flight in another stink-related episode. Yeah, okay. You're basically saying you're a shell of a broken human being. You're basically saying I'm the weakest person on the planet, but if I can get $25,000 for announcing I'm the weakest person, like if you hit me from behind at 1 mile an hour and my airbag doesn't go off and there's no damage to the car, I will say that my neck doesn't function anymore so I can get paid. I will say to everyone, I'm a weak, sad sack of shit, but I'll get paid a few dollars and I'll do it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Great line from Boardwalk Empire, Steve Buscemi line, where he says, "Sooner or later, we all have to decide just how moral we're going, just how much we're going to sin, and still feel good about ourselves."
Yeah.
And apparently,
Self-esteem movement.
Yeah.
Everyone feels good about themselves.
Yeah.
They don't care. Sad.
Yeah. Well, speaking of foul smells, so there's a fugitive out of Massachusetts known as the Bad Breath Rapist. I don't know if you remember him, but it was like in 2005, he kidnapped and raped a young woman at Knife Point in Quincy, Massachusetts. And then the release said that he was found guilty in 2007, but he fled. And they have not been able to find him until now. Massachusetts State Police got word that there was a fugitive in the San Francisco area.
Bad breath rapist is lose-lose.
It really is.
You want the
gonna be
small-dicked rapist.
yeah, is that going to be in the wanted poster?
It's a bad breath rapist.
That was the
5'10".
nickname he got.
He was thrown off a Southwest flight days earlier.
Brown eyes, brown hair, bad breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said they.
Have you seen this man?
It was confirmed because when they caught him, they confirmed it via DNA and his very foul breath, which I guess was reported. So he didn't fix it. So they caught him. They pulled him over. He first used a fake identity and then eventually confessed, "Yeah, that was me." The woman he's been living with for 15 years had no idea, of course.
Wow.
That he had bad breath?
But when she
Did you
heard
write
about the
that?
bad breath rapist, she had to be
She's like, wait a minute,
suspicious.
the guy had bad breath? Hey,
Yeah.
I know, guy.
I know a guy.
Yeah, my common-law husband has gingivitis and a wandering eye.
Come to think of it, I didn't see him this past weekend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that'll work.
Yeah, they caught him 16 years on the run, so they didn't let it go.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a history teacher who is accusing a California teachers union of discrimination against him on the basis of his skin color. But this is a white history teacher.
Ah.
Yes, so he's in the Elk Grove School District, and on Friday he filed a lawsuit alleging that they formed a seat on its executive board, the Education Association, that was only available to candidates of color.
Yeah. Well, this is going to happen more and more, that white people are going to go, we got discriminated against because you said we're hiring, but we're not hiring any white people.
Right. So so they created a BIPOC at large seat. BIPOC is a Black Indigenous people of color, and for its executive board. And because he's not eligible, he's
Good.
fighting it.
Well, look, it's sad. Like, I hate the litigious nature of our society.
Yeah.
I hate it. But if it works to prevent bad behavior, then I am for it. And so when the bitches from The View try to attack some 16-year-old who was getting attacked and shot somebody or something, or the Covington Catholic school kid or something, when they're out there on national TV calling those guys white supremacists and racist, I want them to sue The View so those yentas shut their fucking mouth next time. And anyone who got fucked by COVID and wrongfully terminated, I want them to sue, because I want the government and the employers and whoever to slow their fucking roll next time they're thinking about just firing people for no reason or who wouldn't get vaccinated or whatever that is. And I feel the same about this. The only thing that's going to shut this bullshit down is people suing, and then it will stop it.
But
sadly.
what about things like gratuitous lawsuits where you sue someone saying, I wrote Shakespeare in Love, and you've got to show up in court and prove it. You can't prove it, but all you got to do is keep filing motion after motion and shutting down production until eventually, give them money.
You just want it to be over.
Oh yeah, that's how all these lawsuits, that's how patent trolls work. That's what they did to me, And every time you get sued, look, here's the deal. In California, if you fire anybody and that person is, I don't know, lesbian or black or whatever, they can just go across the street and go right to an attorney, and then they'll write you a letter, and then they'll go discrimination, and then your attorney will go, just give him $80,000 because it's not going to be worth whatever. Yeah, it's extortion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it going on. By the way,
especially like on Broadway. And
Americans with Disabilities Act. Everybody who owns a fucking restaurant in California has had someone walk in and said, you didn't have the grab bar next to the toilet in the men's room. And then they get a lawyer. It's a total mill. It's a cottage industry, and it is fucked
and really,
up.
most people can't afford to stay in court for very long and pay a lawyer.
No, that's what they go, look, you want to do the lawyer and pay $200,000, or you just want to settle up for 80? And then it becomes a business decision.
That's happened to you before?
I've been sued many times.
Yeah, it happened to me too when someone said I wrote that, and $100,000 later, I bailed out. I just dropped the project.
Oy.
$100,000. That's all the money I had. I had to stop.
It's stifling. People don't realize that this environment is overregulated and has way too much red tape and paperwork and way too litigious. I mean, like, when I remember once an Uber driver picked me up and he sold private planes. That's what he sold. He sold new private planes or whatever. And he said, half the cost which you pay for a private plane, whether it's $20 million or $500,000 or whatever, half is lawyer shit. Half just goes into exposure, lawsuits, and whatever. You can imagine it's a private plane. Something goes wrong. Everyone sues. That's it. It's like half of everything is just fucking lawyers. That's all everything is. Yeah. And they will not police themselves at all. Like, I had a fucking scumbag who lived beneath me on a hill, and mud got in his pool, and he just kept telling me, give him 10 grand. I'm a lawyer. And I was like, fuck off. And I was like, I want this guy thrown out of the bar. You're not allowed just to go extort your fucking neighbor saying you're a lawyer. And I always talk to Mark Garagos about this, and he's like, they're not do shit for. They're not going to throw. They don't do any of that stuff.
I remember my very savvy Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn, but he doesn't have an accent. But I remember him saying when all of this was going down, write him a check for 30 grand. They'll go away. And me, I'm like, but they didn't work on this play.
Right, yeah.
I did all the work.
Right.
No, for God's sake, they didn't work on. He's like, I'm telling you,
Just write him a check.
just write him a check. Like, it's almost like, he said, it's almost like getting passage into outer Mongolia where there were warlords.
Right.
Pay them. You want to film over there? Pay them.
Yeah, I know. And it's happened to me. I had this bitch. She bought my house a while. I didn't live in it for like 3 years. I rented it out. Then she buys it, right? And the house is from 1923, and it's in the Hollywood Hills. And she then buys it, and then a year later, something finds a crack in the foundation. Oh. And she comes to me and says, I need, I don't know, $20,000 to fix the crack in the foundation. And I go, why are you coming to me? Why don't you come? First off, the house is from 1923. It's up in the Hollywood Hills, and it's got a crack in the foundation. Why don't you go to the guy who inspected the house before you bought it? And she goes, I think you hid the crack. And I said, what do you mean? She said, you think I crawled under the house and found the crack in the foundation?
So
and
you got to show up in court and argue that you...
Yeah, so she said, we're moving forward, and I was like, go ahead. I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know what you want from me. You had a home inspector. I didn't inspect the home. I didn't live in the home for 3 years.
Did you have to hire a lawyer?
I had, at some point, the realtor and their lawyer and whoever was in some sort of arbitration court. And they're on the phone with me. And they said, the realtors agreed to give $9,000 to the person. And then they said, what do you want to give? And I said, nothing. And they said, if you don't give something, they're going to go to court with this. And I said, no, they're not. And they said, why not? And I said, what's their fucking case? What is their case? I didn't live in the house for 3 years. They had a home inspector. They sold the house. They inspected the house. They escrowed the house, and they bought the house. I hid a crack underneath the house. Good fucking luck with that. I'll see him in court. And I hung up.
Did you go to court?
No, because they don't have a case. The whole thing about cases is, if they don't have a case, they will. People go, oh, they can sue for anything. They can't. But they're going to get a lawyer, and the lawyer's going to go, tell me what happened. I go, I bought this house, and a year later, I got the inspector, and then I accuse him, and the lawyer's going to go, are you nuts?
Yeah.
How are we going to make that case? By the way, why sue the home inspector who inspects the home before you buy it? Don't sue the comedian who didn't live there, who sold you the house.
Right.
You had a home inspector. Right. He should have found the crack. Unless you have evidence of Adam Carolla crawling under the house and hiding the crack with bat insulation or something, then it's or something. Well, I got nothing to work with.
But she legitimately thought she had a case, like most people.
No, she didn't think she had a case.
For a payout.
She legitimately thought it was going to cost 14 grand to fix the foundation, and she legitimately didn't want to pay.
Yeah,
none of these people think they have a case.
Right.
They think. Now, I want to get
isn't
paid.
Isn't it the case that in England, a gratuitous lawsuit, there's no such thing? You actually have to show up and prove your claim?
I think you have to pay the other attorney's fees if you lose.
Oh, okay.
Which would straighten things out real fucking fast. Because could you imagine if we said to her, yeah, all right, we'll go to court, but you got to pay all the attorney's fees if you lose this one.
Right. It'll cost
no more case.
I don't think people know this. There are shakedown teams.
Oh, it's a fucking mill.
They are teams, and the lawyer's part is, look, I'll collect if we collect, but he doesn't charge the rest of the team for his services. He litigates for free.
All right. On that happy note, let's give Darrell Hammond a plug. Now, we had his plug, but we missed stated it a little, but we can leave the actual plug, the correct one, on the screen if we like. Cray is the name of the
one-man show.
One-man show.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
63 characters.
63 characters. Holy shit.
True.
All right. And Twitter, Instagram at Darrell C. Hammond as well.